Hey everybody, Nick here, and tonight we're going to do a little disassembly and maintenance on this little guy. This is the Boker Exskelibur II, except this is unlike the one I filmed previously, which was a an S35VN in titanium version. This is the VG10 version, but more importantly, it retains the ability to do what I just did there, which is the front flip motion. You can kind of pop it loose using your thumb there. And I think that's a really cool feature, and I'm glad to see it here. First off, though, I really want to thank my buddy Jean-Luc for sending this knife along. He actually donated this to the channel. He's over there in Switzerland. You know, it is just a beautiful thing because he saw my first review and felt like I didn't give it, the full joy. The Excalibur II. He loved this guy and, thought, Nick, I don't know, once you get one because that one didn't have the front flipper protrusion. And so he thought that I had made a mistake by not looking at the one that had that. I hadn't given it the full Nick Shabazz, if you will. And so he sent this guy along so that I could do that. That was some seriously permanent thread locker on there, with a T6 pivot, by the way, which I'm not so in love with, but it is what it is. But anyways, thank you, Jean-Luc, for sending this guy along and give me a chance to experience this knife without the unfortunateness of the removed front flipper, because it is a much more compelling little piece without that. Well, actually, with that, without the without. It's like it's kind of like that old the riddle. What can you add to a barrel that makes it weigh less? Everyone goes to hydrogen, helium, a hole. So similarly, what can you add to a knife that makes it suck more? The lack of a front flipper. It's not a universal statement, mind you. Although a lot of knives I think could benefit from front flippers. Alrighty, moving along, back at the ranch. Guys, I'm in a little bit of a contemplative mood, that is, this evening, so you're going to be getting some weird commentary, but that's okay. Let's see here. We have Teflon washes, which is interesting. The very first Excalibur that I handled, the S35VN DI version, was actually one of the few knives in the world that I've been A-okay with Teflon washes on. The other thing to note is that this has a little chunk of red G10 that goes in there and goes on the show side. But anyways, the action is so good that I don't care. The JG Scout, Jason Guthrie Scout, is another one that I felt very strongly was a good knife, even despite being on Teflon. A very good knife, as a matter of fact. But, it's all about how it's dialed in. And in this case, with the front flip in action, because I think front flip is maybe have a slight edge with Teflon, because you kind of get a little bit more guiding the blade all the way through. As opposed to on a conventional flipping knife, here we go. This is a CRKT Swindle, where after a certain point, once your finger gets to this point, now the blade has to propel itself on its own momentum. And so it's a little harder, whereas on a front flipper, your finger's kind of guiding the blade the whole way around. Well, at least through a good chunk of it. So maybe that makes it easier to work well on Teflon, or maybe I'm just, biased or something. I'm a Teflon hater. I try not to be a hater, but I'm a hater on occasion. Let's be real here. I think none of us can really resist the siren song of a nice tall gulp of haterade on occasion. All right, so back at the ranch. I'm taking apart this knife. That's what I'm supposed to be doing here. And anyways, cleaning off the stop pin here. A little dirty, a little grody, as a matter of fact. I often worry, as an aside, I'm full of asides tonight. Sorry, guys. I often worry that there is a whole class of people out there in the world who are not native English speakers. That's not my worry. I know that's the case. But who are watching my videos and learning English from them. Because that's concerning to me, because so many of the things that I say, native English speakers listen to me and go, Nick, what the hell are you talking about? Fall shut it, dude. That's not a word, guys. I'm sorry. Pocket pecker is not an accepted English term, although I'm doing my best to make it so. And, what was my last little gem there? I forget. But anyways, so I worry very much. If you are a non-native speaker of English and you are listening to my reviews, I encourage you, double check your English speak intuitions, that is, because, well, you should never take a language from a jackass. Actually, that's not true. I've had language classes taught by jackasses in the past, but that's okay. Oh, what a jackass he was. Absolutely head over heels for Ricky Martin, this guy was. It was hilarious. It's beside the point, though. High school Spanish teacher. Anyways, moving it freaking right along. Nice guy otherwise. Actually, not that much of a jackass. I've had way worse. Back at the ranch. Alrighty. I've now cleaned up every aspect of this knife here. Oh, except the pivot. I should clean up the pivot. Oh, my. Alrighty. I want to make it clear, 100%, that that guy wasn't a jackass because he had a big old poster of Ricky Martin shirtless in the back of the classroom. That's fine. No problem with that. He was a jackass because, well, honestly, he wasn't all that great at teaching Spanish. And that was kind of what he was there to do. So I don't care who you love or what you feel, just so long as you're good at doing what you're freaking doing. And I don't really feel like he was, but that's beside the point. Alrighty, so I am just lubricating these washers. I'm using 10-weight nano oil, and I'm using it in this little nano pen sort of applicator, which I've been liking lately. The other thing I'm going to lubricate here is the detent ball path, just so that way it glides a little more smoothly, and I'm going to go ahead and lubricate the inside of the pivot there. Now at this point, I can drop the handle on there. Yeah, these are the exact same thing. Yeah, okay, we're good to go. Excellent. And I swear to God, if the comments devolve into people bashing on that because I made an offhand comment about a guy who likes Ricky Martin, then you can just screw right off. Don't even bother. Anyways, back at the freaking... I'm so sorry, guys. This has been a long day, long night. But that's okay. So, moving back here, lubricating the other side. Next step is going to be... This is a very interesting material. It may be titanium, I think. Or maybe steel. I don't know. It's got a weird finish on it. Maybe it's just some kind of chemical finish on there. I'm going to restack the back spacer here. Or at least I'm going to attempt to do so. Which side? Yeah, that goes there. You know what? Actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the screws to kind of... Because what I don't want to do is try and punch the screw through this little chunk of G10 here. Because that has the possibility of damaging the G10 there. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of spear the screw through here and then drop this onto this. Alrighty. Beautiful. Okay, so that's now through there. And we now have everything sort of where we need it to be. I need to pop that other side through here. Come on. Get in there. There we go. Alrighty, excellent. So that's popped in. Now I'm going to use this right here. And pop that in there. Beautiful. We have a stop pin in there. We have both washers. Is important. And now, so I'm going to go ahead and just try and set this down into position. And I'm going to put a couple of turns into both of these screws just to get them seated so this whole thing doesn't come flying loose on me. I'm not trying to get anything tight yet. I'm just trying to get everything in position. One thing I do appreciate that I didn't even comment on is this is using the stupid South African 5-dot pivot, except that Boker has had mercy on us and put a set of a Torx bit in the middle there, which makes this actually usable and makes me not hate my life. So, Boker, thank you for that. Okay, something ain't right here. No, maybe something's right. No, something ain't right. Something's out of alignment here, out of whack. Maybe it's the stop pin isn't seated right. There we go. Now things are seated. I think it was just, yeah, the stop pin mustn't have been in position. There we go. So now the pivot is in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten these guys down here. Did I? Yeah, I Loctited the pivot. Good. The next step is going to be tuning. What I mean by that is that, you know, this blade right now is very tight, which is fine. And if you're using this as a two-hand opener, that's in some ways ideal. But, as a front flipper, not ideal. So let's go ahead and back this pivot off very slightly here. maybe a slight hint of blade play. Let's see if I can tighten that down slightly more. There we go. That's popped. Centering is slightly off, but it is a Boker. Is centering off? No, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was, because having this little extra bit of G10 there, coupled with the lack of titanium on the other side, is kind of an optical illusion. It is slightly off center, but it's not bad. And I think out of a inexpensive Boker, I should probably be happy with where it's at. I'm gonna try and tighten down slightly more. Make the centering, nah, that was too tight. These are very small micro adjustments. I mean, look, pay attention to this little dot on my driver here. That's the extent of adjustment that I'm having to make here. And oftentimes that little tiny micro turn there can be the, nice. That little tiny micro turn there can be the difference between smooth action and not so smooth action. Or on the other side, between blade play and perfect running. I feel like I can loosen that up maybe a little further. Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, as I loosen it up further, the blade is getting further out of alignment. What I'm going to try and do here, yeah, let me try and do that. I'm going to use this piece of paper, which I don't know what it's here from. Oh, yeah, I do. I was using this piece of paper. Well, I cut this piece of paper off of a flat rate mailing envelope. I don't know what the people at my local post office think I do, but they must be confused by me, so I am there all the damn time. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm there more often than some of their employees. Mailing a bunch of stuff. Nope. Yeah, let me try the pivot. Working that a little bit. Let's loosen this bad boy up. Tighten, tighten. Yeah, slightly better. Well, it's running nice. But now that I flipped it, the centering's back out of whack. But look, it ain't so far out of whack, guys. And like I said, for an inexpensive Boker, I feel like this is the kind of centering I should be happy with. Hashtag settled. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed my hashtag settling for the this kind of centering on this knife, but it definitely came back together nicely, and with the Teflon and the front flip in here, it's actually doing pretty okay. The action here is not a bad thing. So there you go. That's your Boker Exskelibur II, just the version that doesn't suck with the actual front flipper. Hope this has been interesting to you, and that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. And again, guys, seriously, no nastiness in the comments. We don't do that here. Have yourselves a good one. Bye now.